you were a DJ in Chicago, if you wanted to have the records, there was only one place to go, and that was Imports. This is where Imports was. People would come in and looking for warehouse music, and we would put, you know, as heard at the warehouse or as played at the warehouse. And then eventually we just shortened that down to, because people also just in the vernacular, they started saying, yeah, what's up with that house music? Now, at this time, they were talking about the old classics, the South Soul, the Philly classics and such. So we'd put on the labels for the bins, we'd say, house music. And people would start coming in, eventually just asking, yeah, where's the new house music?
House was originally used to simply describe the style of music played at the warehouse.
Primarily it was a lot of the old disco records, and not the poppy type disco record. You know, it wasn't instant replay from Dan Hartman, but it was Scat Brothers' Walk the Night.
And we used to just dig in the crates and find something that people forgot about and bring it back.
With such a limited supply of old tunes, DJs became increasingly creative on the decks.
Chicago style is to have a tight blend, to have everything even, to sound musical. You know, when you're not mixing vocals on top of vocals, you know, you finding a place where one record goes with another and it feels right. If you watch the crowd and you see that they like a certain part of the record, then you can repeat that part, you can tease them with it, bring it in for a second, take it out, you know. Like there's a part in here where it goes, but it doesn't come in until the end. So say I wanted to bring that part in, then I would, if I had it planned, I'll just show you how I would move to that section. Like right now it's on the beginning of the record. I'm going to take this one and move the record up to the umda. I might slam it. Say I wanted to play that part, but I wanted to get to the verse quicker, I'll just do that. Basically, if I would just use the double copies to just be able to manipulate the record to whatever section I want to use, whatever I want to do. Like I may intend to play the whole record, but the crowd may not want to hear it.
These type mixing techniques were honed to perfection on radio station WBMX by the Hot Mix 5.
Live on location from Chicago, this is the Hot Mix Dance Party with Scott Smokin' Seals.
Well, the original Hot Mix 5 would be myself, Scott Smokin' Seals, Kenny Jammin' Jason, Farley Funkin' Keith, who is now Farley Jackmaster Funk. He had a change of name there. Mickey Mixon Oliver, and Ralphie. It was Ralphie Rockin' Rosario back then. I think initially there actually would have been 6 of us, and one of the guys didn't show up that day. Poor Jeff Davis. Sorry, Jeff.
It was just such a mystique to that whole show. You know, Saturday Night Live, ain't no jive. I remember that was what they used to say.
If you went around the country and you listened to other DJs play, if you went to New York or even some of the underground clubs here, you would have maybe a 7-minute record. They would play 6.5 minutes of the record, and then they would just segue out at the end. The Hot Mix 5, on the other hand, was different. They would play 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of the record, take the best part out, play the break, repeat the break a couple times, and just give you the meat of the record that you wanted, and forget the rest of the garbage that was in there as filler. And that's what really, really made the Hot Mix 5 style.
They were doing these mixes, sort of like what you were hearing at the club, but mixes on radio, and at that time, it was unique to me, and maybe unique to a lot of other people too.
You know, as the show developed and, you know, we were trying to do more and more creative things, you know, you'd get out the razor blade and start cutting tape, you know, with reel-to-reels and stuff and trying to make the stuff even more creative than it already was with 2 turntables and a mixer.
But it was when DJs started adding drum machines that house really started to take shape.
People just figured, hey, let me try and make up my own kind of, you know, beats or rhythms to compensate for the lack of music.
Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough, and things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then
Typical for house music back in the day to try to give it a harder edge. Something soft like that with a hard beat like that. Nothing like what hardcore is today, but back then this was our hardcore, believe me. And then take the beat out, bring the beat back. Beat out, beat back in. Record with beats, a cappella, both together. To take it to a higher significance, when you turn the drum machine on, you just play beats, people would just scream. You take the kick drum out, bring it back in, and just scream all night.
And they would do these tracks so that when they DJ'd, you know, that everybody would run to the DJ booth and go like, wow, what's that? What's new? What's, you know, man, what's that? And so it was sort of like a status thing. It became a status thing. Who could come up with the hottest track?
Competition between DJs was getting intense.
I would say right around 83, 84. My DJ name was Steve Silk Hurley, and I said I was gonna start calling myself Jackmaster Silk. And Farley was my roommate at the time.
And when he said that, I was like, how can you change your name to Steve Jackmaster Hurley? I'm the real Jackmaster because I put this like, chart. I do that in all my records, then I sample it, right?
By Friday, his name was changed to Farley Jackmaster Funk.
I went and said, Farley Funk and Keith is dead. He no longer exists. There's a new guy in town. His name is Farley Jackmaster Funk. Needless to say, Steve was on his way to the radio station with his tape, ready to make the new announcement that he is going to change his name to Steve Jackmaster Hurley, and almost ran into a pole.
I couldn't believe it. It was the worst.